Hey guys, my name's Arvind Sundar, and welcome to the first episode of Epic Career Secrets. Now, I'm really hoping you're watching this live, but I have a little doobly-doo, not doobly-doo, a little counter up there on the top that tells me that right now there's nobody watching, but that's okay, because you will be watching this at some time in the future, and when you do, welcome. I am, how do I say this? I've been doing lots of different stuff in my career. I started working in 2006, and ever since then, this is like 2020, in the past 14 years, I've done a number of different things. And among the number of very interesting things that I've done, some of the most iconic things, or the things that are very close to my identity, are those of video games. That's definitely a big deal. I also love a lot of fantasy stories. I recently started playing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, and what happens is all of this has come together to help me build up something which I would rather say is something very special, something which is very unique to me, something which very much like Arvind, if you know what I mean. All right, and I managed to put all of these things together, and what happened was, ta-da! Epic Career Labs was born. Now, obviously, looking back, I'm able to connect all of these things. And for those of you who are just tuning in, feel free to leave a comment or ask your question, because that's what this show is all about. I'm planning to do a daily webinar, just on weekdays, mind you. Weekends are for babies and Dungeons and Dragons. That didn't come out right. To play with my baby girl and to play Dungeons and Dragons, of course. Now, apart from this, thank you, Aniket. Do appreciate that. Apart from this, what I'm intending to do in this show, Epic Career Secrets, is essentially look at the wisdom of video games, of Dungeons and Dragons, of everything that I've learned, fantasy stories, epic stories, and all of those things. And what I've managed to do is quite successfully kind of build all of these things together into one cohesive framework. Now, I've built it before, and it's available on epiccareerlabs.com. And the cool thing is that you can apply to just about any journey of transformation. I am predominantly focusing on career transformations and looking at wherever you are, like from here, if you want to go all the way there, how do you go about doing it? All right, so that's the main thing. And I want to say thank you to Aniket for the happy birthday wishes. I think that's super awesome. So thank you for that. All right. So today I just wanted to very quickly recap how we've actually managed to reach till here. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and type it out in the comment boxes. If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, that's absolutely fine. Just type it out. It's going to pop up in my little studio thing here, and I will be able to answer those questions. And in case if you're watching this not on the 28th of April at 6:04 p.m., what you got to do is very simple. Still leave a comment so that I will definitely answer this question when I do get to it. Of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe and hit that little bell icon, right? It gives you a reminder the next time I go live so that you don't miss a thing. And if you're on Facebook, hit like on the page. And if you haven't done so, check this out. You see that ticker that's going on at the bottom? It's going this way, right? Go there, okay? Sign up on the email list so that it's just going to be you and me, one-on-one. No middleman in between. All right. So speaking of epic careers, how are we going to be looking at this whole thing? Well, the way I feel, the best way to approach your career is through the lens of epic stories. If you look at epic stories, if you look at stuff like the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, or even more modern day ones such as Beowulf. I just called Beowulf a modern day story. Anyway, Beowulf, or if you're looking at, let's say, The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan, or if you're looking at stuff such as Harry Potter, Star Wars, The Matrix, how can I forget The Matrix, right? What you see is that there is a lot of commonalities. There's a lot of common stuff that's happening, right? All of them share a same underlying structure. And there is this one dude, call him a dude, but it's Joseph Campbell. And in the 1970s, what he did was he did a lot of research. 60s and 70s, he's done a ton of research, and he's put all of this together into what he calls the monomyth. Now, tons and tons of people have interpreted it, and they have come up with their own interpretations of, how do you actually segregate this? How can you actually process this thing called the monomyth? And how do you make it work for you? Now, I've taken that, and since there was no exact structure or framework available on how you can apply the power of stories into your career, what I did was I created something called the Epic Journey Map. All right, Epic Career Journey Map. You can go check it out on epiccareerlabs.com. The cool thing is, Once you see it, you're going to be like, oh my god, that is so obvious, that is so simple, why didn't I think of this before, right? And in that way, what happens is suddenly everything starts to make a lot of sense, especially when you're looking at building up your own career and trying to like level up from wherever you are to where you want to go. Now, that was the idea with which I started, and I want to say a special thanks to Aniket once again, who has subscribed. If you haven't done so, now's the time. All right, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Facebook, like the page on Facebook. You know what you need to do, please. All right, so coming back to this, I'm really enjoying this whole live video thing, right? There's no pressure of editing, and I can just be me, and that's it. It's done. All righty. Again, remember, you can always just type out your questions in the chat box and whatnot, and I will be able to answer them on screen. All right, so where was that? Yes, when you're looking at the Epic Career Journey Map, I've started sharing that with everybody. I started doing this about a month and a half ago. I've been doing Wednesday webinars. That means that I've been doing webinars every Wednesday from 6 to 7 India time. And what I did was I kind of like started exploring this concept with a number of different people, right? I started coaching a couple of people one-on-one. I started sharing whatever I could, like, through WhatsApp and through Facebook and emails and whatnot. And over the series of webinars, right, what happened was things started becoming better, right? I started to understand this stuff better. I started to share with other people, and I saw that other people were also understanding this much, much better. And here are a couple of the things, a couple of the highlight reel, if you will, for the webinars, especially because, unfortunately, so far we have not. I just goofed up when it came to recording, right? And what happened was the recording that was done on Zoom and all of that, encoding issues. Anyway, that's all gone. So here's the thing, and this is going to be going up on YouTube and Facebook. All right. So the first lesson and the first idea that we covered, which is not just tied to the Epic Career Journey Map, but also on how do you make your career epic, right? The first lesson, and it's very appropriate because it came the time of Corona, is you are not measured by your ass in chair time, but by the results you deliver. Your value does not come by the time you spend sitting at your desk on your ass, but by the results you deliver. Now, it's a very important lesson, simply because if you think about it, especially now, this is like 2020, April 28th, right? What's happening is coronavirus is there, right? I mean, it's a freaking pandemic. Everybody's like locked in their houses, and we're all stuck. And now most of us have the privilege, mind you, most of us have the privilege of working from home, at least those of us who are employed. I know some people who got laid off, and that sucks, but that's a different video, right? But most of us who've been given the privilege of working from home, you know what's happened? We're all still working. We're all still making the same amount of money. And some of us, I'm not saying all of us, I'm not saying it's you, but some of us are still being able to squeeze in a little bit of Netflix, a little bit of Amazon Prime, an afternoon nap. I'm guilty of that. After, I think I'm part stereotypical Spanish, right? I want my afternoon siesta. Well, the Spanish bit is coming in because my wife's watching One Day at a Time, right? So it's a TV show about a Spanish family or something. Anyway, so when we are able to find time to squeeze this in, when you go back to the time, the way life was before the coronavirus, right? When we would just go into work, we'd come back, and all of this was happening. We would be full at work. We'd be like fully utilized, right? We'd be fully present, but we'd probably spend some time, inventing busy work. And that's when, when you take this realization, this thing that's going to change your mindset about how to approach the value that you're providing. And when your value is no longer proportional to the time that you spend at your desk doing work, that's work in air quotes, but rather in terms of results you deliver, that gives you a sense of direction. Now, what that means is if you're right now working from home, if you are right now having the luxury, the privilege of being, of sitting at home with your laptop with an internet connection, and you're able to connect and talk and, do work, well, what if instead of spending 8 hours at that, you spend 6 hours or 5 or 4, or in my case, 2? What would happen? You see, the thing is, Work expands to fill the time that we give it. Okay, this I've noticed this since my engineering days. I've noticed this when I was doing my master's in Manchester Business School. All of these things, right? Work just expands to fill the time that we give it. And in that scenario, if I'm going to be saying that this task is going to be taking me 3 days, it will take me 3 days. And that's the same thing that happens at work. If a project that's supposed to be done, let's say if you have to write, like, let's say 6,000 words for I'm just saying words because that's the kind of metric that I have. Let's say if you have to write 6,000 words for a project, okay? You have a report that's due, you have to do this research, and then you have to write up all of this. How long is it going to take you? I have finished the same project in roughly 3 hours. I finished it in 3 days, and it's also gone up as long as 3 weeks. And when I'm looking at the difference between 3 days and 3 weeks, the quality of work is not substantially better. It's not, right? The Japanese have a wonderful, I think they're from, I forget the island they're from. I think it's the Okinawans, right? Hara Hachibu, which is 80% full. And, that's very, very loosely, but yet very accurately transferable to everything else that we do, which is 80% is probably good enough, right? Even right now, the point I'm trying to make is this. At work, if you're not working 100% of the time, okay? I'm calling you out on it. You're not working 100% of the time, okay? You are engaging in bullshit. You are engaging in frivolous activities which are not necessarily adding value to you. I said it, okay? And in that scenario, what you can do is very simple. When you actually finish the work that you're supposed to do, and let's say that, don't tell your boss this, by the way, okay? Don't tell your boss this, but if you are done with your work, like, 8 hours worth of work in 4 hours, the remaining 4 are yours to spend. Now, it was always the case. Nothing has changed. Nothing has absolutely changed. Just because we're now in this lockdown mode, it's become a lot more clear, right? Now, what happens is once you're done with that 4 hours of work, what are you going to be doing with the remaining 4 hours? There are a number of things you could do. You could learn a new language, programming or vocal. I think they're called vocal languages. You could perhaps pick up a new hobby. You could do some exercise. You could network with your colleagues better. You could write something. You could study something. There are a whole host of different things you can do. And I'm not telling you what you need to do. I'm not. I'm just trying to bring it to your attention that there are a number of different things that you can do as long as you are cognizant, as long as you are aware that you can finish a job in just 4 hours, and the remaining 4 are for you to do with as you please. Go ahead, watch Netflix. Hasmukh is nice. Extraction is a good movie. That's just come out really recently, so that's why I'm saying this. But whatever you do, realize that these 4 hours, okay? 4 hours, these 4 are for the work that you're doing. These 4 are for whatever you want to do. And whatever you want to do is entirely up to you. That was the first point that we covered in one of the webinars, right? And that's a very important takeaway from this whole thing, right? The way you look at your own career has kind of changed. At this point, I want to ask you guys right now, at whatever you're doing, right? When you're working from home or whatever, how do you spend the time that you have? Go ahead and type it out in the chat box or in the comments, and that's really going to help me kind of build up on all of these. I think it's going to be a really, really good thing. Go ahead. And while people are typing out your answers, I really hope some of you do, because it's going to be like very awkward if nothing pops up. But apart from that, the second thing, we had another webinar where we are talking about, I wonder what we were talking about. Well, it was definitely something interesting. And I'm going to be trying to, you know what, I'm going to share that a little bit later. But we spoke about the Epic Career Journey Map. Now, for those of you who don't know, it is my interpretation, as I was talking about earlier. It is my interpretation of the work done by Joseph Campbell. And what I did was, you can find this at epiccareerlabs.com/map, right? That's very important. Just the URL just like pasted everywhere. What you can do is you can actually look at the way this entire career structure, right, and our career growth, our personal transformation from whoever we are basic to whoever we are, wherever we want to be. That's completely within our control. And that map is literally the map that you want, the map that you need to go from where you are to where you want to go. Right. So we spoke about that as well. We spoke about the 16 steps. And I still remember that because we had the exist phase. That's the first 4 stages. Then we had the progress phase. And then we had the ignite phase. And finally, we had the champion phase. So what happened in that was actually quite interesting, because when I saw that there were many, many different kinds of people, right? There were people who were looking at, some of them were students. Others were essentially, how do I say? Others were like, long-time employees, and they were trying to figure out how they can actually go forth and develop themselves into somebody who is, much, much better than who they are today. They could use that as well. All right. So that was the second second important webinar that we had. The third thing was we spoke about the giveaway that I had launched, and you can go to epiccareerlabs.com/giveaway. I think I can actually bring that up on screen. Ooh, look at that, fancy. epiccareerlabs.com/giveaway. That's where I have announced a free giveaway. And if you go to this URL right now, this is in 2020, what you could do is you could essentially start participating in this giveaway. We have our first two how do I say this? The first two winners of the giveaway itself. I'm going to be doing this pretty much almost every month. And congratulations to Nazim from Switzerland, of all places, lovely country, never been there, heard lots of good stuff, as well as Rahul. And they're both going to be talking about, I'm going to be like coaching each one of them through whatever they're going to be going through. And there's going to be more stuff coming up on that as well. And in the meanwhile, what I want to do is I want to talk to you about the other kind of webinar that we had, right? Excuse me. The other webinar was all about effective relationships, right? We spoke about what are the different kinds of relationships we have, what are toxic relationships, and we spoke about different ways to connect. And I shared like a massive list, right? I shared a list of I think about 30, 40 odd different things that people could do. And we spoke of like how the different things can actually be useful in terms of expanding our network. And the most important thing that came out of that particular webinar was the friendship formula, right? In case you didn't know, friendship is essentially can be distilled into a formula. It's not my own work. I got this from the book called The Light Switch. And what it talks about, it's friendships and relationships basically are a function of intensity, overlap, frequency, and duration. These are the four things, okay? Frequency, intensity, overlap, and duration. These are the four things that we spoke about, and everybody there was also like, "Oh, dude, I can use this for everything." I'm like, "Yeah, you can. You could use it for your romantic relationships. You can use it with your family. You can use it with your bosses at work." And of course, I stressed on the fact, which is very important, like even for you, whenever you're watching this, is the fact that what happens is that you have to dig your well before you need it, right? That's actually very, very important, because without that, it's not going to be a good thing. Right, so that's a bit of a thing there. All right, we do have another comment. Aniket again says, "Can you show the things that you're speaking about? It will be great to visualize." I could share this, and you know what? In fact, I'm going to try to share this, but you know what? I don't want to really mess it up. What I can say is, if you go to epiccareerlabs.com/map, right? That does make a big impact. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to try to bring the what do you call this? The Epic Career Journey map on screen, and let's see if we can talk about that. Okay, I think you guys can see that right now. I'm just going to like kind of zoom it in, and then so you know what? I'm going to put it like this so you guys can see me talk about it as well. So that's what I was talking about, the four phases, right? So we had the exist phase on the top row, then we had the progress phase in the second row, we had the ignite phase, and then finally the champion phase. It's definitely a very useful thing for us to like use as a how do I say this? As a map. That's essentially what it is, right? It's a map that talks about the epic career journey that you can have. Alrighty, so that's been that's pretty much what we've been doing so far. And then we had other webinars where we spoke about relationships. I've covered that. We spoke about how we can essentially continuously focus on our own improvement. We spoke about that. We spoke about the epic career journey map that was there too. And in the first one, I believe I even spoke a little bit about the value that you can deliver and how that actually makes sense. And in the next one, that I had planned was supposed to be all about mastermind groups. All right, that's a pretty meaty topic, and we can definitely explore this perhaps tomorrow when it's originally scheduled to go live on. But right now, I'm going to be looking out for some questions on. From any of you guys, and if you not have any questions right now, I do have some that have come in from my friends when I collate all of these questions. So if you can type this out, nothing like it. But here is a concept that I wanted to speak to you guys about, and that's called the grind, right? And when I'm speaking of the grind, what I'm talking about is this. Every time when we're looking at professional growth, what happens is we start off in a place, okay, which is our current level, and we keep on doing stuff that's easy for us, right? So in a game parlance, what happens is we are fighting monsters that are very, very easy to kill. We're doing one-shot kills, right? The monster is dead. Now, we have to kill like a lot of monsters if that is going to be adding value to us, if we have to level up and grow, right? But if we try a different thing, what if instead of being the place where the monsters are really, really easy for us to kill or very, very easy to defeat, what if we went to a different place with different kinds of monsters? Now, when we go there, different things can be happening, right? One, it could be that the monsters there are still very easy to kill. That's one option. The second option is that the monsters are very, very tough to kill, right? So almost impossible. That every time we try to go and kill those monsters, we're dead. It happens, right? So those maybe that's not happening. Maybe there's a third place that we could go where the monsters are just right, the Goldilocks zone, if you will. And what happens there is when you look at that sort of a parlance, the best place for you to be when you want to level up and grow in your career is to be in that Goldilocks zone, right? Where the monsters are just right. Maybe you die a couple of times while trying to kill this monster, but in the end, you are able to succeed. You are able to go forth, and you are able to, well, essentially say that, yes, I'm okay. I can do this. Now, when you translate that back to how your career works, it's quite important to realize that this is a very, very important metaphor. And if you don't listen to me ever again in the future, that's okay. Just remember this thing, the grind, okay? The point is this. Even when you are going to be leveling up at work, you want to find projects that are not too easy or not too hard. You want to find the projects that are of the best difficulty, which are at the edge of your competence. You want to be doing deliberate practice. You don't want to keep on doing the same thing again and again and again and again. It's easy. It might even help you, feel good, but that's not the kind of dopamine that you need, right? What you need is you need to kind of like struggle hard through that. And you really need to go forth and find that project which is not too easy or not too hard, so that you just reach in the right place. I do have an old friend saying, Prithviraj, saying, hey, he's a good friend of mine. Yes, my friend from Toastmasters as well. He's got a great YouTube channel as well. So Prithvi, if you want to just drop in your link in the chat, I'll make sure it pops up on screen as well. And Jackal Silence, I don't hi to you. And there he is. How do we know what the right place is? Great question, Jackal Silence. I love that name. The right way to find this place is to experiment, right? So just keep on slowly pushing yourself again and again and again until you find the place where you're failing roughly 20-25% of the time, right? You definitely have to get out of your comfort zone. There is no doubt about that. If you don't get out, you're not going to go. As you said, we do have to stretch the boundaries, as you said. Absolutely right. Another way to look at is to actually go speak to your manager saying that, hey, I want more responsibility. How would you recommend that I go forward with it? You see? And then this way, what happens is it's not you versus your manager. It's you and your manager working towards this goal, working towards this goal. You both are on the same team. And your manager like, oh my God, this guy actually cares about what I'm doing. So, hey, that's a win-win-win. Aniket's asking, how do we use this technique of career map if you're about to start a journey in a new company? Dude, you have no idea. That's perhaps going to be the best place for you to implement. Think about it. What is the career journey map, right? It is this thing, right, about you starting your journey in a new company is essentially the call to adventure. right? You're going to see that this is a new place. You have to form new relationships. You have to earn your stripes once again. You will see that you have to establish your credibility. You have to form that rapport with your managers, the people who are going to be reporting to you, as well as your peers. And in all of this situation, right, the kind of relationship, the trajectory that this has to follow is going to be the same, irrespective of whether you're going to be starting. Mind you, I said the trajectory, not the intensity, right? The angle, the way it's going to be going is still going to be very similar to that same process. What you will need to realize is that you might be struggling with multiple changes at the same time. You're trying to establish your credibility, you're trying to build new relationships, you're trying to get a lot more of buy-ins. And these are like, think of them as 3 different projects, right? For each one, plot out this map. Find out who's that mentor that you're going to be getting in each one of them. Find out what is the chaos within that you will be feeling. And I will guarantee it. And what happens is, I will guarantee that when you have only one of these projects going, right, you have like 3 different fronts, right? Let's say you are trying to build relationships, get buy-in, and establish your approach, right? Your credibility. You will be feeling some chaos. And when you know this, right, that little bit of uneasiness, I want to do this, I want to do that. How am I going to be doing it? Just take them one at a time. For each one of them, setting some sort of a goal, which is going to be like your interim milestone, is going to help. And later on, one of the later episodes, I think we're going to be talking a lot more about personal branding. Now, Aniket, I do know you from before and from us, so thank you for being here. We have spoken a bit about personal branding, but I'm going to be sharing that as a part of the free courses that I'm going to be giving out via Epic Career Lab. So that's one thing. Jack All Silence says, how do we know what the right place is? Well, honestly, if you are uncomfortable, if you don't know what the hell you're doing and you need to ask others for help, that's when you know that you are in the right place. And to answer your other question of, is it actually trial and error? Well, see, this question, I'm just going to go back to this question of what's the right place. And it's all about, where are you comfortable, right? What is the edge? What is that boundary of your comfort zone? You want to get there, and then you want to push that. I was trying to go boop, boop, push that boundary a little bit more, right? You're just going to be making like a small like bump that's going to be coming up, and eventually that entire surface area is going to be increasing. Now, there are different ways that you can try to do this. You can obviously try to level up, do the same thing, but you can try to do it better. You could try to do it faster. You could try to do it with lower or fewer mistakes, or you could try to do it with a higher quality. These are all trying to, for you to take whatever you've been doing, change one parameter and try to do it again. So again, the key here is that of iteration, of repeated practice. When you keep on doing it again and again and again, that's when you're going to be slowly improving. All right. That's a good question. How long do you think we can last in this trial and error phase? Macha? Forever. Because remember, this trial and error phase, the grind that I've been talking about, is not a one-time only thing. It's not. It's all about, very simply put, it's all about continuous learning, right? You never stop learning, right? There's stuff that I'm learning every single day. Like today I learned about using publishing tools on Facebook, right? Which means that I can directly post the same stuff on Facebook and Instagram. I learned about multi-streaming. This particular video that's there, it's actually popping up on both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. I learned that my credit card provider also blocks international transactions unless I've authorized them. Now, that being said, I'm learning how to use this fancy mic, right? That's also there. I don't think learning ever stops. It just doesn't. The beautiful thing, though, is that you can keep on learning new things, and the old things that you keep on practicing just keep on getting better and better. So as a result, that circle of competence that you have just keeps on getting, you know what? I don't think it's a circle. I think it's a freaking sphere. Okay, that sphere is just going to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I don't think that's there's like any sort of a stop to that ever at all. Prithvi, I would like to know a little bit more about take control. I don't understand what that actually means. Ashish Rantri is washing his hands. That's a very good thing to do in the times of Corona. Abhilash says, how to inspire a friend who needs this advice but believes they don't. Abhilash, if it is you, I'm highly going to recommend this wonderful book called Actionable Gamification by Yu-Kai Chow. Especially that's a book on, it's like the cutting edge of behavioral therapy, but it also talks, not behavioral therapy, what is that called? Behavioral science, but it also talks a lot about motivation. And I think for people like you, right, we need to have two different kinds of motivation. One is the black hat motivation, the other is the white hat. Sometimes for people like me, it's just, okay, yeah, this is fun, let's try it, let's just go let's go improvise. Like, but then for somebody like Abhilash, I know him, he's a very dear friend of mine, believes that they don't. I think we need black hat. I'm literally going to be saying, give me money, and if you don't do this, I'm going to be donating it to some charity that you don't like. So hey, that's a possibility as well. Jackal says MTV Grind is definitely a good thing. 3D Sphere is also good. I loved MTV Grind, but my parents would never let me watch it. I was always very, very shy because I thought women wearing bikinis, mind you, this is when I was like in 3rd grade or 5th grade or something, right? Women wearing bikinis were out of my reach, out of my league. I don't know what to say, but the point is, life is full with experience. You're absolutely right, and you have to absolutely level up. All right. Aniket saying, I'm waiting for the universe to unlock so I can get a fancy mic too. I'm going to be honest with you, buddy. You don't need a fancy mic, right? This entire exercise, right now we have 9 people. I've been talking for about 30 minutes, and not many of you have actually subscribed, and that kind of, very gently breaks my heart. What I would love for you guys to do is actually go ahead to any of these, like FB, Insta, or YouTube, and subscribe. But Aniket, to answer your question and your comment rather, which is you're waiting for the universe to unlock, this is it. I am your freaking call to adventure. You have a phone. I know you have a phone. We've spoken on the phone. You have a laptop. I've seen you on the laptop. I have seen your positivity podcast. Go ahead, freaking start. Just hit the freaking start button. If you want to do something fancy like this, I have a ring light in front of me. I have a laptop on a stand. I have a mic with a sound card and all of these things. Okay? But last year, and you know this, like last year on Instagram, all I can't even find my freaking phone, but I made 365 videos on my phone, and I was shitty. I remember the first video I made was because somebody I knew, Anisha Datta, she's like, I'm going to be making 365. I'm like, she said that she's going to be making 365 videos. And I'm like, yeah, I want to do that too. And I remember my first video, 19 minutes, and I was dropping F-bombs like it was Pearl Harbor. Okay? This is an excuse. This is absolutely an excuse. And typically, and you know what? Applying the Epic Career Journey Map to this particular thing, what you're doing right now is the refusal of the call. Okay? And right now, when you're watching this, you might be feeling like, oh man, shit, I could be doing this, right? And you are absolutely right. And for Abhilash, where's that sentence? I'm just going to be digging that out. I'm getting like really worked up right now because of him. But yeah, there he is, right? And Abhilash, this thing, you are putting up excuses as well. You have this mental block saying that, oh, I can't record, I can't go live on video. That's bullshit. I have seen you. I have seen you live. I have seen you record a video. I have seen the kind of videos you're doing. I have seen you teach. I have seen you speak. Both of you, Abhilash and Aniket, you have it in you. I know you guys. All right. And you have everything you need. If you want to do this, if you want to make your life easier with this thing, I'm using a software called StreamYard. It's $25 a month if you're paying monthly, but they have a free account. There is literally nothing stopping you. Only thing I have going for me, I have 2 things going for me. Okay. One is this inner, I wouldn't say drive, right? I think it's like foolishness. Okay, I just think it's like sheer freaking stupidity, and I'm like, you know what? This is probably like the 15th or the 20th different project I've started in my life. Okay, you guys know this. You guys know Way of the Octopus. You know Project Superstar. You know Put the Player First. You know of Domination Labs. You know of Gamify Your Career. You know about the Way of the Archer. There are so many different things that I have tried and they have failed. Okay, I know you guys have tried shit too, but it's okay. Just pick it up and keep going. It's as simple as that. Whew. I like what KK is saying. Life is equal to learning is forever. Believe it or not, Krishnakant is a very, very talented speaker. And this particular thing, it reminds me of something that Krishnakant Nayak, had shared before in one of our Toastmasters meetings, which is he spoke of this analogy of of a South Indian wedding leaf meal, right? Like in a plantain leaf and a banana leaf, right? You get that meal and you get all of these different things, and you can pick and choose what you want to eat. That was a very powerful metaphor that Krishnakant had shared. And right now, our life is exactly like that. We have that plantain leaf. It's full of all these different things, right? It's like this wedding feast that we can have. We can have some vada, we can have sambar, we can have kesari bath, whatever you want to have. There are karabat, let's not forget karabat. We can have whatever we want. Right? It's all right there. All we got to do is just grab it and take it. Alrighty, so I think we are almost done. Oh, we have one more thing. I have RJ material. Well, thank you, Jackal Silence. As long as you have the voice, this is important. The voice that you speak about is obviously my vocal quality, and thank you for that. I am susceptible to flattery, so that does happen. But more importantly, the voice that I think is very, very critical for each and every one of us to have is that need to go out and make a change, make a difference, to make a dent. And I think that's very, very important. Each one of us, Abhilash, Aniket, Prithvi is doing like a bang up job on a number of different things. And if he had just posted his link, I would have shown it up on screen as well. But remember this: each one of you have it in you. Okay, you have it in you to have an epic career. Now, just remember. Thank you, Jackal Silence. But what you got to remember is your career can be in accounts, it can be in finance, it could be in marketing, it could be in tech, it could be whatever. It could even be in entrepreneurship, something that we're going to be exploring in the future. But whatever it is, you have to start somewhere. So for the folks like Abhilash, who says stuff like this, and for folks like Aniket, who are saying stuff like this, believe in yourself. You already have everything you need to get started. And the sooner you get started, the sooner you can start getting better and better. Okay. Well, with that, friends, I have reached my allotted time for the end of the session. Before I leave, I just wanted to share two things with you. One is this thing, this URL that you're seeing on screen, that is epiccareerlabs.com/giveaway. Head over there, and if you haven't done so already, or if you haven't won yet, like Rahul and Nazim from Switzerland, I'm going to request you to go ahead and sign up, join the email list. It gets you some sort of an entry, which you can then use to win 1 month of free coaching from me. So that's definitely there. Thank you for that, Jackal Silence. I think it's freaking awesome. Oh, look at that. You know what? I just signed up for an Instagram session and posted my first video. Yes. I'm not sure if I want to say the F word here, but freak yeah. Super proud of you, Abhilash. Super proud of you. And thank you for this, Jackal Silence. I just wish I knew your real name as well. So apart from this, you can always find and subscribe to me on Facebook, Insta, YouTube. I'm going to be doing these live sessions almost every weekday. Please do note I qualified it with almost, because I might be having some sessions sometimes during the weekend. During the week at 6 p.m. In case if I do, I am apologizing. But for now, that's all I have for you to say. Check this out. You see this logo? And you see that thing? Yeah? Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Arvind saying over and out. Till we meet again tomorrow. Bye.